good day. So, welcome to my last recorded video discussion. So, our topic for today is all about the reforms in the Department of Education. So, this is the last topic for Chapter 2, the school as an organization. Now, let us have a game, which is called brainstorming. So, the only thing you need to do is to share your ideas and answer the following questions. First, does the implementation of K-12 program enhance the educational system of the Philippines? Second, as one of the K-12 program graduates, did it help you? So your answers should be written in the comment section of our Google Classroom on this recorded video discussion. Now let us move on to the learning objectives for this lesson. At the end of the 1-hour class, the students are expected to A. Discuss the reforms in the Department of Education through brainstorming. B. Give importance to the implementation of the K-12 curriculum. And C. Create an essay about the benefit of the students in the reformation of DepEd. So we will only achieve these learning objectives if you actively participate in answering my activities and listening and watch my video until the end. Now let us start our lesson proper with an activity which is entitled Compare and Contrast. So, compare and contrast the old curriculum program and the K-12 program. So, the reforms of the Department of Education. So, during the 90s, the Philippine educational system was changed. This is due to the creation of technical, vocational education and training and the higher education, and they were separated to the basic education. So under Republic Act number 7722 and Republic Act number 7784, the Commission on Higher Education and Technical Education and Skills Development Authority were created. So, the mandate of the Department of Education, Culture and Sports or DEX was then refocused on basic education, which covers the elementary, secondary, and non-formal education including culture and sports. So, Republic Act number 772, this is also known as Higher Education Act of 1997. So, this is a law creating the Commission on Higher Education that separates colleges and universities from DepEd, providing its own independence and having the right to practice academic freedom. And Republic Act number 7784, this act strengthens the teacher education in the Philippines by establishing centers of excellence. So in 2002, Republic Act number 9155, also known as Governance of Basic Education Act, was passed, transforming the name of the Department of Culture and Sports to Department of Education, and thus redefining the role of its offices from the national level down to the school level. So RA 9155 provided all the framework for school head empowerment by strengthening their leadership roles and school-based management within the context of transparency and local accountability. So under RA 9155, culture and sports-related functions, programs, and activities were transferred to other relevant government agencies. For example, the Komisyon ng Wikang Filipino, National Historical Institute and Record Management and Archive Office, and the National Library, which are previously under the Department of Education, were administratively attached to the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, so NCCA. So we all know that NCCA are one of the prime government agency that promotes the culture of the Philippines. And also, the sports competition was also transferred to the Philippine Sports Commission. So, PSC, or the Philippine Sports Commission, is also a government agency that tackles or focused more on Philippine sports. So but they are separated from the Philippine Olympic government agency. But they are also handling sports competition. So while programs for school sports and physical fitness activities remained under the Department of Education. So given its mandate, from the RA 9155, DepEd has initiated many reforms that have significantly contributed in the improvement of the Philippine basic education system to provide every Filipinos with education they need to compete in the global context. So, in order to compete in the global context, this is the new or the improved basic education. This is called the enhanced basic education. So, according to the Senate Economic Planning Office, or SECO 2011, the Philippines, together with Djibouti and the Angola of Africa, they were the only 3 remaining countries in the world that retains a 10-year basic education system. So SECO articulated that the continuous deterioration of the quality of education in the Philippines, despite of the constitutional guarantees, has prompted the Department of um, um, Education to push for the implementation of the K-12 program, which entails the institution of the kindergarten and the additional 2 years of high school in the basic education cycle. So the following are the issues that influence the implementation of the K-12 programs highlighted by SECO 2011. First is the net elementary participation rates have declined from 90.1% in 2002 to 88% in 2010. So there are lots of students or learners who did not go to school because of some circumstances, like unstable financial aspect and such. Second is the access to education is unequal, with the poor having significantly lower participation rates than the non-poor. Third, efficiency is also a problem, as manifested in the still high, albeit declining dropout school leaver rates. So there are lots of dropout students in elementary and in high school due to some circumstances also, or some problems. 4. The results of the Functional Literacy Education and Mass Media Survey, or FLEMS, show the out of school with ages 6 to 15 years old do not attend classes mainly due to the lack of personal interest, high cost of education, and too young to go to school. Fifth, low score in the country's national assessment test. So I think this is one of the most problem in the educational system of the Philippines. I remembered during my elementary years, di ba na may national achievement test and regional achievement test. So kasagaran ato nga mo take is grade 3 and grade 6. And schools are conducting reviews to help the students during the national achievement test. Pero instead of promoting and encouraging the students nga mo nga magtuon, ila manggong kuanan kana ang sa tawag ani ay gitagaan og answer during the tests. Kay dumdum ko per grade 3 or grade 6 namo, gitagaan mi og kanang answer sa among mga teachers. Kay the result of the National Achievement Test would also reflect the performance of the school man. So if dako ang score sa mga students, it means high or very efficient ang kanang school. And if gamay ra ang score sa mga students or overall score sa mga students, it means dili efficient ang kana nga school. So, mo to akong hinduman nga during my elementary years, tagaan dyan mig answer sa amuang teachers kung mag-take me og national achievement test o regional achievement test, which is not good kay ana palang daan, the teachers did not model a proper or appropriate behavior for the students. Kay makakuha ng students nga, hatagan, galing minimum og mga answer. So why not, pwede din may magkuhan di ay, mangupya, mag-cheat, nga na. So di ba mo kuhan ra. So, that's that. Then last is the result of the international tests, such as trends in the International Mathematics and Science Study, or TIMSS, shows that Philippines is almost the worst participating countries. Yes, tinuod na. Dato'y balita, I think during my first year college pa to, that the Philippines is second to the last sa Asian countries when it comes to mathematics and science competition. So, I don't know why, because ba sa ato ang 10-year basic education system nga wahita sa mga other countries or other circumstances. But these are the issues that influence the implementation of the K-12 programs highlighted by the Senate Economic Planning Office. So SECO also added that the deterioration in the quality of education was attributed to the 10-year basic education cycle. So as such, the government exerted effort to address the issues attempting to increase the number of years in basic education. However, such idea was opposed by students, parents, since additional 2 years in high school will entail additional expenses for the parents as well. So this was perhaps due to the lack of information regarding the benefits of having a longer years of basic education. So I remember also during our katong hapit na may graduate or grade 10, there are lots of protests from students and parents about the additional 2 years in high school because it would entail an additional expenses for the parents and maniguhang na daw ang mga estudyante sa high school. So, mo na siya ang kasagaran nga reklamo sa una. But, if only the government has given enough information regarding the K-12 program, then the parents and the teachers would really agree to enhancing or improving our educational system. So if natagaan pa og mga sakto nga information, dili mga fake news, then why not, di ba, mo go ta sa improvement sa ato ang educational system, since this is not just for the students or the parents, but also for our society or our country as well. So there are 6 reasons that were highlighted why the Philippines should shift to K-12 program. So first, Philippines is the only country in Asia with a 10-year basic education. So here in Asia, the Philippines is the only country who did not adopt to the K-12 program. Ano siya ang first reason. Next is the poor quality of education. Third, too many non-practical subjects. Fourth, not prepared for a college education. And too young for the labor force. So in 2012, Republic Act number 10533, known as the Enhanced Basic Education Act, was passed, institutionalizing the K-12 curriculum, which added kindergarten and 2 more years of senior high school in the basic education program. So the K-12 program has brought development opportunities to the basic education system to address issues and concerns in quality basic education. So the following are the salient features of K-12 program or curriculum highlighted by the DepEd. First, strengthening of the kindergarten in the Philippines. Second, making curriculum relevant to learners. Third, building proficiency. Fourth, ensuring integrated and seamless learning. Fifth, gearing up for the future. And sixth, nurturing the holistically developed Filipino. So the ultimate goal of the K-12 basic education program is to prepare Filipino students for tertiary education and also in the field of work by providing the students with enough time in basic education to master skills and develop competencies that will enable them to perform better when they decided to go to field of work or in their chosen career. So the institutionalization of kindergarten. So general kindergarten program refers to the 10-month program provided to children who are at least 5 years old in regular elementary schools using thematic and integrative curriculum to ensure the development of foundation skills among children to prepare them for grade 1. So prior to the implementation of the K-12 curriculum in the Philippines, kindergarten is optional to parents. So, di ba, depende ra sa mga parents kung i-enroll ba sa mga parents ang ilahang mga kids sa kindergarten. That is prior to the implementation of K-12. So, but by virtue of Republic Act number 8672, otherwise known as the Barangay Level Total Protection of Children Act of 1990, so this law has mandated the local government units in coordination with the DSWD or the Department of Social Welfare and Development to establish a daycare center in every community covering kindergarten program. The implementation of this early childhood education was then strengthened by the passage of Republic Act number 8980, known as Early Childhood Care and Development Council or ECCD Act of 2001. So, which mandated the ECCD and DSWD to provide programs needed by young children that will promote their optimum growth and development. So, in our municipality, I think there are kindergartens na ngagipang daycare center na ngagipang build in every barangay para sa mga bata. And in our barangay, there are 2 kindergarten daycare center nga gitukod para sa mga bata. So, in 2011, Republic Act number 101 in 2011, Republic Act number 10517, known as the Kindergarten Education Act, was also passed, institutionalizing the kindergarten into the basic education system. The passing of the said law is in consonance with the Millennium Development Goals in achieving the education for all, or EFA, by year 2015. EFA, so familiar na tani, right? It is like one of the general principle of the K-12 program that there should be no child be left behind. So, di ba, kabantay mo sa mga high school o elementary karon nga, bisan pag kanang bitong daghan nag-absent, apason gyud na sa mga teachers. Kay dapat wala joy mga learners, students nga ma-left behind. So, apason gyud sa mga teachers. So, the kindergarten was applied to elementary school system, being the first stage of compulsory and mandatory formal education, and was made an integral part of the basic education system of our country. So this law, RA 10517, also provided equal opportunities for all children to avail of accessible, mandatory, and compulsory kindergarten education that effectively promotes physical, social, affective, cognitive, and creative aesthetic development that will prepare them for formal elementary schooling or for grade 1. So with the passage of Republic Act number 10410, otherwise known as Early Years Act of 2013, children ages 0 to 4 became the responsibility of ECCD. So while the responsibility to help children in their formative years between ages 5 to 8 was given to DepEd by virtue of the RA 10533, known as the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2012, which covers the inclusion of kindergarten in the basic education system. So remember that children ages to 0 to 4 became the responsibility of ECCD Council, while the students or children ages between 5 to 8, they are given or covered by the Department of Education under RA 10533. So, mother tongue-based multilingual education. So, consistent with the policy of the state to make the education a learner-oriented and responsive to the cognitive, and cultural capacity, the circumstances and diversity of learners based on RA 10513. So the mother tongue based multilingual education, or the MTB-MLE, was made as a medium of instruction for teaching and learning in the kindergarten level by virtue of DepEd Order number 32 series of 2012. So, the mother tongue is seen as an important medium of instruction using the local language understood by learners. So I think kindergarten, grade 1 to 2 or 3 utilized local languages. Like for example, here in Bohol, teachers use Bulanon or Bisaya language as a mean of communication in imparting knowledge to the students. So I also remembered when we were in grade 12, my classmates' thesis study was all about the effects of mother tongue to the academic performance of the grade 1 and 3 students. Grade 1 to 3 students. So the respondents are the parents, teachers, and the students in a certain public school in our municipal. And the results of their study says that the implementation of mother tongue affects almost all the learners, since most of them cannot understand deep Bulanon or Bisaya language, and most of the kids nowadays are speaking the language or speaking in English. So, manang galisod sila. And especially that it was newly implemented curriculum during that time. So they had a hard time understanding the local language. So it really affect their performance in school. And also based on the parents, they also find it hard to explain the Visaya version of some subjects, and as well as the teachers, since they cannot teach the students one by one, and since most of the teachers are used to teaching using English language. So, mo na ang study sa among classmates when we were in grade 12. So, ato pa lang, makita na nga, the newly implemented curriculum is not that or not that easily effective in the schools of the Philippines. So it needs a lot of improvement. So just like what I have said earlier, mother tongue is seen as an important medium for instruction by using local language understood by learners. So Rutus Foundation 2018 articulated the following benefits associated with an education that takes into account children's mother tongue. So first, children learn better and faster in a language they can understand. So of course, dali ra jud makasabot ang mga students in the language that they can understand. But there are also some subjects nga lisod i-translate into local languages. And also, sa akong nabantayan sad, when based sa results sad ni sa katong thesis sa among classmate, ang grade 1 to grade 3 or 2 ba, kay nag-use og local languages in all their subjects. And when they are promoted to another level or in grade 3 or in grade 4, they used English language as a means of communication in all subjects. So ana palang daan maglisod na mga bata, dili na magamit sa mga bata ang na-learn nila, some of it, kay dili na magamit sa mga bata ang na-learn nila sa ilang previous nga level sa ilahang current nga level. Kay ang Bisaya lisod i-translate sa English kung ang mga bata ang pastoryaon, di ba? And second, they enjoy school more and feel more at home. Yes, kay Bisaya language man, so maka-socialize sila and dali ra maka-express sa ilang idea because of the local language that they are using. Pupils tends to increase self-esteem, of course, kay they are open to any conversation between their fellow students and to their teachers. Parents' participation is increased by helping kids with their homework and participating in school activities. So, kanunay man dyan ni nga parents are one of the partners of education, and they are the one who supports their children. So, bot pasabot, they are helping the students in their homeworks and also supporting their children in any school activities. 5. When children take advantage of their multilingualism, they also enjoy higher socio-economic status, including higher earnings. Yes. They can use their multilingualism when they kung tungtong na sila sa mas higher na level ng kanilang edukasyon, because they learn how to speak different languages which could help them when they are working or when they are in the field of work already. On average, schools perform better reporting less repetition. And finally, children stay in school longer. So, contextualized curriculum. So when we say contextualized curriculum, curriculum contextualization is done by using examples, activities, songs, poems, stories, and illustrations for teaching and learning that are based on local culture, history, and reality. So contextualized curriculum, teaching students the skills which they can use in the real world. So, di ba, sa karon nga curriculum, mas dako og percentage score ang performance task compared sa written works and examinations. Since ang performance task manggod, sa old curriculum, students are tend to just write what they learn, essays, write na. Pero karon, students, pwede nila i-show, ma-apply ang ilang na-learn. Pwede nila i-apply ng type sa history. So, unsa may na-learn ninyo about sa kuha ni Magellan sa pagka-discover ni Magellan sa Philippines. So, it could be they can show it through role play, song ba, or narrative poems, and such. Pwede basta daghan, performance task, kay may gipakadak-an karon, and kanang mas ma-enjoy sad ang mga students, dili ra kay sige rag lingkod, sige suwat, nga na, kay old fashioned na kayo ang nga na nga curriculum. So, mo sa di ang naka-nice sa K-12 curriculum kay mas ma-enjoy na ang mga students, interactive na ang teaching and learning discussion, and also ma-apply sa mga students jud ang ilahang na-learn. So, senior high school. So, the additional 2 years in senior high school is one of the most relevant reforms that may be considered. As such, the following tracks were included in senior high school. So, academic track. Under academic track, there are accountancy, business, and management, or ABM. So, kato ko nung mag-uha og mga courses like business, entrep. So, pwede ka mo enroll ani nga track. Strand. Then, humanities and social sciences, or UMS. Katong mga education and such, pwede ani. Then, science, technology, engineering, and math. So, STEM, katong hilig og experiments, hilig og mga kore-kore sa computer, sa technology, sa engineering, architecture, sa math, pwede sa aning STEM. Then, pre-baccalaureate maritime. So, walin ni sa among school ning pre-baccalaureate maritime. Pero, maybe sa other schools, like private schools, na ani siya. So, kato ning mga seamen, nga na. Then, technical vocational livelihood. So, agri-fishery, home economics, information and communications, technology, and TVL maritime. So, mo ni ang mukuhag mga NC2, NC1, o NC3, which they can use when they are going to apply for a work after they graduated senior high school. So, in our batch, there are lots of students who did not enroll in college because they already started to work and they used their NC2 certificates to work. So, ni-work po sila sa ilang related na track na gikuha sa senior high. So, some of my classmates, I think, they work mostly on restaurants, mga vulcanizing shops, and courses. Kanang nasa computer, information and communication technology, ICT, kanang mag-create ng mga websites. Yan na. And sports. Kung gusto mo or mahilig ka sa sports, pwede nini mo kuhaon sa senior high and arts and design. So, next is the organizational structure of the Department of Education. So, when the Department of Education is restructured in 2011 through the passage of RA 911, diba? So, the Department of Education, Culture, and Sports was renamed to Department of Education, shifted the focus of its mandate to basic education. So, under the Executive Order number 366, series of 2004, directing a strategic review of the operations and organizations of the executive branch, DepEd initiated a rationalization plan which includes the rationalized structure and staffing pattern of offices in central, regional, and schools division levels. So of course, since the newly implemented ang program sa education, of course, there are rules and responsibilities sad nga ma-change, and that includes the organizational structure of the DepEd. So according to DepEd, the new organizational structure is a result of a thorough study conducted by the DepEd Change Management Team or CMT vis-a-vis the long-term educational reforms. So consistent with the pertinent provisions of Republic Act number 9155, DepEd also continued to adopt decentralization and shared governance to ensure accountability and relevance to the needs and demands of its stakeholders. As such, the new organizational structure was adopted and took effect on January 1, 2006. So here it is. Here is the new organizational structure of the Department of Education. So at the top of the organizational structure is the office of the secretary. So we all know who is our office or the secretary of the Department of Education, right? It is Mrs. Leonor Briones. Leonor Briones. So I think ma-change ni siya karon since we have our new administration na under Bongbong Marcos. So let's abang-abang that kung kisa ang atong new Secretary of DepEd. And under the office of the Secretary is the Internal Audit Service. So under the 2 is the 6 offices. So under curriculum and instruction, there are Bureau of Curriculum Development, the office that develops our curriculum programs, Bureau of Learning Delivery, Bureau of Education Assessment, and Bureau of Learning Resources. Next is the governance and operations. So Bureau of Learner Support Office, Bureau of Human Resource and Organization Development, National Educators Academy of the Philippines, Project Management Service, Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Service. Then, under the field operations, regional offices like school division offices, schools, and learning centers. So, ayun na belong ang Division of Bohol and such. And then under legal and legislative affairs is the legal service. Then under finance and administration is the finance service, administrative service, procurement service. And under the strategic management, planning service, public affairs service, information and communications technology service, external partnership service. So that is the new organizational structure of the Department of Education. So that ends my discussion for the reforms in the Department of Education. So if you have questions regarding my discussion, feel free to message me. So for our activity 2, direction. Identify and explain how students, you, will benefit or had benefit from the reforms initiated by the government in the Department of Education. So the deadline for this is on May 24, 2022 and to be submitted at the Google Classroom. So the criteria for this activity is content and organization 25 points, relevance 15 points, promptness and timeliness 10 points, and that is a total of 50 points. So that would be all. So since this is my last recorded video discussion, and I am expressing my heartfelt gratitude and appreciation to you, my students in English BS and English 2, for always watching my video discussion, for participating and answering my activities. I know inyo nang responsibilities, pero still gipakita ninyo nga baysuan gyud. Char. Diba? So I am very thankful and grateful ninyo BSED English 2. Okay, although we really did not meet virtually, but through lang sa Google Classroom and Messenger, I know nga mga good students mo and future educators. Sad, parihan ako. So, thank you and God bless everyone. Bye.